Boxing King Media, we're in Manchester with Pat Barrett, trainer of, I'm going to mention Amaar Akbar because that's who we came for today, but obviously you train Zelfa Barrett, Lyndon Arthur, loads more prospects in your gym that I've seen today, some quality kids. I'm going to start on Amaar. How's it come about him, joining your gym? And
well, it was his dad that bought him, really. I think he was looking for somewhere to train, and his dad and himself come to my gym, and his dad bought Amaar down there sparring before. I thought he was a very good prospect then, and to me, I was really honoured in so many ways for his dad and Amaar to choose me, because there's a million gyms out there, and I don't know what he thought I could have brought to him differently. But as time progresses, I'm beginning to understand, and what it is with Amaar is life in the slow lane. I've just slowed him right down, and to actually believe how good he is. He's the first kid that's ever walked through this door in a very long time that I can say is naturally good.
That's a big statement, that, and you've had a lot of champions, a lot of quality fighters in this gym. I'm guessing you would have seen Ammar's professional debut. There's some moves he was pulling off there, like the pullback counter, which you don't see a lot of fighters manage to do that in the first fight. He did it a few times. What was your assessment of his debut?
That's what I like about him. This one says that you hit the nail on the head. You see Amaar do things that in boxing that you don't see no more. And there's a lot of these things that has become extinct because Amaar is so classy and so good. And watching Amaar, to me, is like a breath of fresh air. Yeah, it's really good. The way he can box with angles and pull away and slide away from punches and counter punch, he's already got the world class to be a world champion tools, but he just needs to put them in the right places to make him that world class fighter.
Obviously, I'm guessing you're going to be stripping him down, working off the basics again. Is there one thing in particular that you're thinking, I'm going to improve this aspect of his game?
Yeah, I mean, and the key is the jab. Yeah.
You're famous for that?
Pardon?
You're famous for that?
No, it's not what I'm famous for. It's just like the great Emmanuel Stewart, and it's what you taught, and the same with Brian Hughes, what Brian Hughes taught me. I'm only keeping that legacy going on and trying to teach fighters to have a good left jab and a good defense. And that's what bestowed and made Amaar better at doing. His defense, his footwork, his IQ of boxing is absolutely sensational. I think together we make a good team. I mean, I think his dad has done a remarkable job with Amaar. His dad is probably one of the best trainers to actually bring a kid like that through my door. So I can only say great things about them before as a team, but I think it's a bit, I also know the relationship is very hard. Training your own son, and you want too much, so sometimes that little step off and say, look son, I think I've took you the farthest I can do. Somebody else better. So I just want to thank his dad for that.
Okay. I want to ask you, obviously you worked with him for 3 months, I think it is now. What kind of changes are you expecting? What do you think you'll see in his fight next week?
Do you know what? I wouldn't change him, not for anything. I'd just make him better. And I think for this fight next week, you'll see Amaar, changes in Amaar will be, he won't get involved. He'll box at range. He'll set his shots up, plenty of feints, plenty of bad movements, good counter punching. There's just so much. What can I say? It's like I said, it's not what I've taught him, it's just what I've opened his eyes up to.
I've got to touch up on it. Obviously, it's just a big fight. It's happened at the weekend. I'm guessing you watched Joshua versus Usyk. How did you score it, and what did you think had happened before the fight even took place?
I mean, I thought Usyk was very good. He was very, very good defensively. The angles, he kept it at a fast pace for an heavyweight. He boxed well. I couldn't fault Usyk in any way. I mean, Joshua, it was hard for Joshua because he had to try and adapt and change to something that I don't think he's ever done. He had to stay focused. I think it was more mentally tiring for Joshua than it was physically trying to keep up with Usyk, which that's how he trains.
Obviously, you've already mentioned that the jab is your favourite shot. It's something that you kind of work your fighters around. You build them off the jab. Obviously, I think it's been commented quite a bit that AJ didn't really use his jab in that fight, and when he did, he was more pouring it out. And if you was training him, what would you change in AJ?
See, the thing is, what it was with AJ, reason why he couldn't get the jab off. because Usyk was doing so much movement. It was like trying to shoot a moving target. It's going to be very hard to hit. Yeah, I think if Usyk was a bit more static and a bit more stationary, I think the jab would have been the key. But because of that movement and the angles, he fought a very good defensive fight as well as an offensive fight. And, you know, I understand that because it's what we try and teach in this gym here. Defense is key. So I don't think there was much AJ could have done really with a fight like that. I don't think anybody could have done much with a fight like that really.
Do you think he's able to change and adapt, and like everybody keeps saying, he's got to walk him down and it's got to be all out attack? Will that make a difference, and will that win him a fight?
People can't really say that until they actually go in the ring. It's the same with, like, let's just use an example. Lyndon looks so lazy and so, when you watch him fight, and so easy to beat. But then when you get in the ring with him, it's a different matter. And the same with watching Usyk saying you walk him down. If you walk him down, you're only going to walk on the punches. How are you going to pin someone down that's moving at angles? You can walk down as much as you get, but you're going to be coming in a straight line, end up over there. You're going to be throwing punches and you're going to be missing wildly. So I mean, you've got to have the same kind of game plan as what your opponent said. You've got to remain switched on and train your mind to beat someone like him. It's like Lomachenko. People said, how would you beat a Lomachenko? You fight him the same way. Yeah, mirror image. Stay switched on, stay tuned in, try and react when he's reacting. Yeah, if he's moving, move with him. Yeah, and you know, just try and be that one step ahead. Over here. That's the only way you're gonna beat anyone like that, Usyk or Lomachenko.
And you mentioned Lyndon there. There's been rumours recently that the rematch is agreed with Anthony Yarde for December. Can you tell us anything about that? Is it on or is it not? What do you know?
You know what? I just dare say no comment on this fight. When this fight actually happens, it happens. It is going to happen, I know that much. And the rematch is something that we want to accept. It's just where the rematch is going to be. Okay. I mean, we want the rematch more than probably they want it. People think we don't want it, but of course we want it. But as a defending champion, why would you not want it in your own town? Manchester's a big boxing city. We've had championship fights here with Ricky Yarde and Anthony Crowley, you know what I mean? There's been big fights in Manchester before. Even Steve Foster, the Viking, you know what I mean? So why couldn't we have London Arthur? It's a big fight in Manchester. We won it in London. We won it in Manchester. We've been told that we're definitely having it in Manchester, so we're just waiting for them to come back with a date in Manchester and so on.
Okay, and obviously on to Zelfa, the Kiko Martinez rematch has been talked about. Kiko fought recently. What's Zelfa going to bring different to the rematch to make it more convincing?
What you got to realise, yeah, these fighters are versatile. Yeah, and what I mean by versatile, I'm not one-dimensional as a trainer. So we're always going to bring something new to the table. It's not what Zelfa's going to bring different to the table. It's what I'm going to bring to the table that matters. So you know, you don't need to ask what Zelfa's going to do. It's what we're going to do. We're going to do a game plan together. I'm going to be the one to do the game plan. Zelfa's going to be the one to follow the pattern that I'm going to give him. Yeah. So I know what we're going to bring different to the table. I know it, and that's only going to be shown on the night. There's no point in talking about it. Same with Lyndon. I know what we're going to bring different to the table again. So, I mean, we don't look at that win as we're not living up the same win because it was just about win and only just on a jab. So that's why it was just a close fight, because you could say, well, if Lyndon wasn't out jabbing him and wasn't working, then it would have went to Yarde. But because Lyndon's consistent jab, that was scoring and knocking points up because he could throw his hand, that's what did it. Zelfa had a close fight with Kiko Martinez, yeah. Because Zelf was on the back foot and boxing and moving, good fight, just about won it as far as I'm concerned. Again, you can see why it was a close fight. So you've got both of these kids in two close fights, yeah, and both of these kids having a return. And then the key is, like you just said, how are they going to make it different? How are they going to win it big? Well, that's down to me. Before, get the win, be satisfied, come out there safe and sound. That's what they both did. This time now, they both know what to expect because they've been in with them before, they've boxed them before. The fear of it is not the same as it was before. Everything's going to be different, so I hope that answers it.
And I like that. I just want to touch on your shows. Obviously, you're a promoter as well. You've got some shows coming up. Is there anything you can tell the fans that they're going to look forward to? And what territories you're going into as well? Because you're based in Manchester, but you're all over the place, aren't you, promoting shows?
Yeah, I mean, I suppose we're just like, we're like a circus, really.
Yeah.
We
I heard
go
you say
to-
that earlier, so I wanted you to bring it up.
Yeah, we're like a
Circus.
circus. We go to one city and we do something, and then people like us, and then we leave. Oh, when's that circus coming back again? And then we go to, you know, it's not the first time we've gone to Newcastle. Zelf and Lyndon boxed in Newcastle, and they became stars overnight before they was even on TV. And now everybody wants to see them back in Newcastle. So to me, it's like over the northeast, great boxing place, beautiful boxing place, love it for the boxing, and for me to bring a set of Manchester kids with no northeast fighters on it, and just me doing that myself, it's just a great challenge. Got a lot of good kids on it, a lot of good prospects, and I think the northeast is going to love what we're bringing.
I'm going to finish up on Ammar Akbar. How do you see his career panning out? Because I'm guessing you'll take a part in the fact, you know, his matchmaking as well, because you'd want to be told obviously who he's fighting and how he develops as a fighter.
Good job of me. I know the matchmaker very well, so you know.
What's your plan for him? What's your plan for him for the next 18 months or so?
My plan is to take each fight as it comes with him, man. I think he's a very good prospect. I think, you know, it's still fairly new, the relationship between us. I'm not going to say, oh, this and that, but 4 weeks in. But in the time he's been here, he's learnt a lot, he's improved a lot, he's come on a lot. His confidence is getting better. His self-belief is getting better. Bear this in mind, everything about in this gym with Ammar, it's a whole new setup. From going to training with him and his dad, and basically the only one to training with a full squad. It's like, hey, I'm not getting the attention as much here now. It's like, I'm working out. I can imagine everything that's going through his head. But you know, boxing, it's about what you have to do by yourself, yeah? And my aim is create something for the man in his head and let him show me, because a great teacher is someone who can watch and unlook, and I watch him on the bags rather than on the pads and doing this. I can teach him better by sitting there and I'm watching the man on the bag and say, listen, you're dropping your hands, listen, you're not moving your head, listen, you're not fighting, treat the bag as an opponent, yeah, and all them kind of things. So yeah, I think he's...
I can say as a compliment to yourself, I've been to a lot of gyms and I do see trainers, once a fighter's sparred, they will move on to the next fighter, but you've got your eyes on everyone. You're telling certain fighters off for doing, you know, X, Y, and Z. So I respect you for that. So to say from my part.
I think I've got the trust and the respect of all my fighters that if I give them a head full of tricks, they'll spend 6 rounds working on that. And I can kind of glimpse them and say, yeah, he's working well. Or I can either glimpse the ones that think that they need to have me stood by, that I'll say something to them. And Ammar is one that came through the ranks and he's like racing through this gym. And he's like, you know, he's getting into, he's gone past being right at the back to crawling right through near the top with the big lads. And it's good to see. So all these up-and-coming lads are now like, hey, wait a minute, he can't beat us. So I mean, so it makes everybody open their eyes up towards what somebody else does if they give 100%.
Sound. Pat, thank you very much for your time. Is there anything else you want to add before we shoot off?
No, just keep looking out for Amaar Akbar and watch. He's definitely one for the future, 100%.
Thank you very much.